407 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty, and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Now we are engaged in a great civil war, testing whether that nation or any nation so conceived and so dedicated can long endure.
We are met on a great battlefield of that war. We have come to dedicate a portion of that field as a final resting place for those who here gave their lives that that nation might live. It is altogether fitting and proper that we should do this. But in a larger sense, we cannot dedicate, we cannot consecrate, we cannot hallow this ground.
The brave men, living and dead, who struggled here, have consecrated it far above our poor power to add or detract. The world will little note, nor long remember, what we say here, but it can never forget what they did here. It is for us the living, rather to be dedicated here to the unfinished work which they who fought here have thus far so nobly advanced.
It is rather for us, the living, we here be dedicated to the great task remaining before us, that from these honored dead we take increased devotion to that cause for which they here gave the last full measure of devotion, that we here highly resolve these dead shall not have died in vain, that the nation shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth.
Hello, how are you? I'm Reverend Tyron Williams, pastor of Mount Olive Baptist Church in Heathsville, Virginia. I want to take this time to talk with you about a very serious matter. It's your right to exercise your vote. You know, years ago, growing up in Augusta, Georgia, I had the opportunity of witnessing the despair that was on my mother's, father's, and grandmother's faces when they had no opportunity to exercise their right to vote because the laws that governed our state made it extremely difficult or impossible for them to vote. Things such as literacy tests, poll taxes, and other kinds of deterrents to keep African Americans from voting. Many people have given their lives so that we might have the right to vote. But then in 1965, President Lyndon Johnson signed the Voting Rights Act, which removed all of the deterrents that had been imposed by many southern states to keep African Americans from voting. Now you have an opportunity to exercise your right to vote. I remember the smile on my grandmother's face when she was on her way to the polls to vote for the very first time. There was joy that could not be imagined prior to that date. But now the laws are in our favor. Nothing can keep us from voting except ourselves. Joy.
My name is Ulysses Turner. I'm the senior pastor of Beulah Baptist Church in Lively, Virginia. I want you to exercise your right, the privilege, and your obligation to cast your vote and let your voice be heard. We have a right to vote because of those that came before us who gave their life for us to have this right to vote. We have an obligation to vote because your vote does count. It's your civic obligation. And it's also a privilege. We must all take a part in this democratic process. Hope to see you at the polls. Thank you.
for the sake of your children and grandchildren, don't stay home. Your vote matters as never before.
This is our civic responsibility, so I truly encourage you to vote. We have had many of our forefathers that lose their lives, limbs, and had to take tests that made no sense in order to vote. So your vote does count.
Hello, I'm the Reverend Dr. Linwood Blizzard II, the senior pastor of the Macedonia Baptist Church in Heathsville, Virginia in Northumberland County. I come before you today just encouraging you and pressing you to get out and vote this year. Voting is very important. We talk many times about the need to vote for those who have died for the right to vote. But the more important issue in the present day is the right to vote is being taken away by so many people. I encourage you to get out to vote because voting is your constitutional right. Many folks are trying to disenfranchise people through various actions, remove votes, and a lot of issues are pressing today. But I just come to tell you today to get out to vote, to solidify your right to vote. Voting is an action that shows people that those who are being elected and those running for office, that you are serious about your government. We all pay taxes, so we should all put our part into what do we do and how we spend those taxes, how we encourage our elected officials to act, and how we encourage our government to respond to our needs as citizens. So this year I encourage you to get out to vote. Voting is what we need to solidify your right to vote in the future. The more you choose not to vote at times, the more likely you will not have a chance to vote in the future. So get out to vote to strengthen your right in voting. And as you strengthen your right in voting, you will vote the right way for however you choose this year. Get out and vote. Don't sit back and wait for things to happen. Get out and exercise your rights.
Remember, your vote can make a difference. God bless you.